sword, the Japanese version of what is called fencing in the West. Fencing does not fully embrace all the Kendo implies. Some of the overtones of Kendo will be made clear later. Kendo is a relatively recent word in the Japanese language. It did not come into popular use until late in the 19th century. Earlier training was called Kenjutsu or Ken, which means swordsmanship. The golden age for Kenjutsu, the Tokugawa period, which lasted from 1603 to 1868. For samurai, the warrior gentleman of old Japan, Kenjutsu was first among all his martial accomplishments. Among his various military skills, in addition to tactics, he included archery, musketry, use of the spear, as well as horsemanship. Because of the great importance of Kenjutsu, unlike the Tokugawa samurai, well over 100 schools of fencing developed, each with its own special techniques. Prior to the 17th century, swordsmanship was taught the use of actual swords and exercises, which included sequences of predetermined cuts and parries in which the sword was stopped just short of contact. These exercises were called kata, meaning attacks, parries, and ripostes, sought, numbered as many as 50 in some schools. Because of the obvious danger, wooden swords called bokken or bokuko were later introduced to teach the same cuts and parries. The wooden sword was also used for simulated combat with many a painful bruise. This in turn led to the development of protective equipment and eventually to a split bamboo cylinder called a shinai, the same length as the sword. This weapon had more give to it. The shinai, together with a mask, breastplate, and padded gauntlets, prevented very realistic training. At the present time, the historical sequence of weapon training has been reversed. The student of Kendo progresses from the bamboo cylinder to the wooden sword, and finally, when his skill and control are adequately developed, is allowed to train with the naked sword. Closely associated with Kendo is the art of cutting on the draw, called iai. Now, this art is practiced by only the most advanced students of Kendo, but prior to Japan's modernization, it was studied by all samurai. As in the Old West, for the Japanese warrior, the faster draw meant the difference between life or death. Therefore, the samurai trained himself to draw and cut from all positions, in all directions, sitting, standing, and walking, front, side, and rear. Various schools of Tokugawa Kenjutsu had their roots not only in the techniques of swordsmanship, but also in moral and philosophical tenets as well. Some found their inspiration in Buddhism, especially in Zen, others in Confucianism, and still others in the native Japanese belief of Shinto. Most subscribed to the samurai code, here reading from right to left: Shi knowledge, Jin benevolence, and Yu courage. Stress was placed more on the mastery of oneself than the mastery of one's weapon. The deeper teachers of the art quite rightly perceived that in mortal combat it was more often the man who lost all thought of victory or defeat, all thought of self, who won the day. Here lays the essence of the way, or the do, the left-hand character of Kendo, with the mastery of self above and beyond the mastery of technique that lay at the heart of Kendo. Kendo has the following grades: 6 junior classes, or Q, graded from 6 to 1, rank Moki, 3rd grade, where the junior class equivalent. Degree holders, called Yudansha, hold degrees called Dan, which are ranked from 1 to 10, with 10 the highest. Kenneth Takao, 5th degree, wears Yudansha equipment. Kendo has emerged as a vigorous sport since the war, and has shed its old ties of militarism. Ronnie Fuji and Frank Noki show enthusiasm. Kendo develops coordination, stamina, wind, improves posture, and disciplines the mind and body. We've seen the actions of Kenneth Takao and Yoshimina Miyata as they engage in a brief practice session. Kenneth Takao wears black, Yoshimiyata, 4th degree, wears white. Yoshimiyata, 4th degree, vows his all must on entering and leaving the fencing hall. He will demonstrate the donning of Kendo equipment. He wears a heavy cotton jacket called keikogi, and a divided lower garment called hakama. The beginner wears white normally, and the degree holder a dark blue, but Miyata wears white out of personal preference. Equipment is donned while in a kneeling position. The padded thigh protector, called tare, is put on first. Goes about the waist and tied in front. Next, the dole, or chest protector, made of strips of bamboo covered with lacquered rawhide, is put on and secured by cord. When the senior instructor is present, those junior to him arrange themselves in order of rank facing him. Senior present on the right of the line commands, "Seiza." That is, sit correctly. Then, "Sei." Bow. After the formal salute to the instructor, the rest of the equipment is put on. A light towel, called tinagui, is wrapped about the head to keep the mask clean, to help keep perspiration out of the eyes. Usually, the tinagui has some uplifting sentiment written upon it. Men or mask has a heavy metal grill to protect the face, and thick padded extensions that affords protection to the head and shoulders. The mask is secured to the head by two long cords. The metal grill is chromed on the outside and painted red on the inside. Red paint is intended to deepen the color of the face and give it a more awesome appearance during practice. The method of tying varies in different parts of Japan and gives a clue to where one has received his training. The weapon is the shinai, a long cylinder formed of 4 seasoned and carefully shaped pieces of bamboo. This construction of the shinai permits it to give and thus decrease the force of the blow. The shinai is approximately 3 feet 10 inches long and weighs a little over a pound. Finally, the padded gauntlets, or kote, are put on for the protection of the hands and wrists. In order to limber up, Miyata goes through a number of stretching exercises. Points that are valid in Kendo are demonstrated by Yoshimiyata 4th degree in white and Benjamin Hazard 4th degree in black. There are 10 valid cuts and thrusts. A cut to the mask, delivered with the call men. A cut to the right temple, also with the call men.